Welcome to the Positive Girl Doctor podcast for women. I'm your host, Dr. Christina Wilson. I created the Positive Girl Doctor after years of dealing with societal expectations, self-doubt, and perfectionism. I leveraged my 30 years of experience as a positive psychologist to address limiting beliefs and gain clarity to build confidence and navigate obstacles to achieve a healthier well-being. I knew that pain all too well. So I empower women to achieve confidence and live a positive centered life. Subscribe to the podcast and check out the earlier episodes so you don't miss a thing. And let's get to it.
Welcome to the Positive Girl Doctor podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christina Wilson. You might feel like you're on a never-ending escalator. You know, the one that you're supposed to get off, but you never do because you don't meet the goal that you think you should, right? It's exhausting. And I'm talking about the expectation that you set for yourself. So in this episode, we explore how high-achieving women get stuck in the perfectionism trap. And I share 3 actionable strategies to silence the negativity and pivot toward a more positive mindset. It's all about breaking free from self-doubt and comparison. So find the full transcript for this episode on your favorite podcast. And please share the podcast with other women to help them grow on their journey. So don't just invite your friend, right? Extend your reach by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. I appreciate you so much. So perfectionism is a big problem for high achieving women. And it can be exhausting just trying to meet your goal that you set for yourself when the expectations are just unreachable. The expectations you set for yourself matter. So where do they really come from? When you come from a place of scarcity early on, your beliefs about the world are formulated based on this. And, I'm talking about scarcity versus abundance. As somebody who lived in poverty for quite a long time. Wow. As I'm talking about this, it just conjures up something really deep within me. And it's a place that I haven't been in some time. And I'm thinking about it, it just doesn't feel good. That is emotion. And it's fleeting. However, the feelings surrounding that emotion, they matter because they guide you in your trajectory. So hear me when I say that. The emotions are free. And they're fleeting. It's interesting how a triggered memory is manifested by a construct brought to the mind. But you don't have to stay there. And I don't. Not anymore. I catch it and I throw it out because I'm not going back there. And that is where agency comes in. With higher agency, you build confidence and self-worth. You set the intention that serves you. It's a beautiful thing. And when you become agentic, you embrace free will and you use it. So as a result, you choose growth. Okay? I'm going to say something that might sting just a little bit. But, getting stuck, it's a choice. You have so much more power than you ever imagined. So I'm here to say, take back your power. Use your choice wisely. And that is the difference between having a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So the perfectionism trap, it's ultimately a dead end for high achieving women. And it doesn't lead to a good path and the path that you deserve. Perfectionism sounds like you're striving to be the very, very best, right? But it's not what you think. Having higher expectations is as long as you aren't so high that you cannot possibly meet them. High expectations condition us to hold on to things. And when we don't meet those expectations, we increase our anxiety and our stress. We have enough stress in this life, right? So remember, we're not perfect human beings. Okay, that just doesn't exist. And there are a few things, though, that you can do when you catch yourself in the perfectionism trap. Okay. So when you start to fall into the trap, you'll know it because it feels all too familiar. And it doesn't feel good because self-doubt starts to set in along with the comparison. You're going to know, right? So the first thing is that you must identify it, because if it's too common, then it almost becomes second nature, right? But catch it and take responsibility for it. That is your next action of integrity. This is going to help you move away from it by taking that action. Remember, it's a choice. And the only other option is to stay in it and ruminate. And those negative feelings and thought loops never feel good. So make the choice that serves you and do what is right by you. Okay? The second is that when you catch it, you might briefly journal it. And I know that when I talk to someone like a coach, just exploring it verbally adds clarity. Good coach asks powerful questions to facilitate the process, and they walk with you in the process, right beside you. That is a great way to get a positive outcome. So journaling is a way to process those emotions and create change for yourself. And I want to say that coaches tend to have coaches. So they're also coached, because we're always growing in life. And it's a beautiful thing, coaching is, to be able to move to the next level. Very empowering. And that's why I moved from, I'm a psychologist, but I moved from doing, being a therapist and doing therapy to coaching. Now, if you need a therapist, you have something a little bit more deeper that you need to focus on and serious. Not that what we do in coaching isn't serious. It is serious and it's very important. But if you need that level of care, absolutely should do that. There's nothing wrong with it. But most people just genuinely need coaches. Okay. The third thing is, or another way to set or move forward, is to set intention. Be intentional about your future and remind yourself of what you want. When you start to get off course due to comparison and perfectionism and all that stuff, don't punish yourself for it. Okay. It is common and you're not alone. Also, there is a surefire way to get stuck in the feelings surrounding it too. If you do start to beat yourself up about it. Refuse to do that. Okay. Tell yourself no. I've told myself no before, forcefully, no, I am not doing that. Okay. And pivot. So when you're experiencing strong emotions,
Thanks for listening to the Positive Girl Doctor podcast. Be sure to leave a review and tell other women about the podcast. Let's support one another. Find the full transcript for this episode on your favorite podcast app. Watch the podcast on the Positive Girl Doctor YouTube channel and learn more at thepositivegirldoctor.com. And be assured, you are not alone on your journey.
the feelings around it, try some breath work because that is so helpful. It clears your mind and brings oxygen back to your brain and bringing yourself back to homeostasis. Okay. Now I've embedded a lot of that into my the somatic coaching, into those strategies in my coaching programs for that very reason. It's that important. So I hope this helped you. And don't forget to grab your free copy of the Confidence Workbook now. I have the link in the show note or the transcript. Okay. And let's meet up again next week for another podcast episode. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Positive Girl Doctor podcast. Be sure to leave a review and tell other women about the podcast. Let's support one another. Find the full transcript for this episode on your favorite podcast app. Watch the podcast on the Positive Girl Doctor YouTube channel and learn more at thepositivegirldoctor.com. And be assured, you are not alone on your journey.